finally, I am filming the video that you guys have been asking me for a really long time. And now this is completely my fault that it has taken so long. I asked you guys so long ago to send me submissions for this video, and I've been really busy, I won't lie. You know, I just moved, I just started a new job, but I'm finally filming this video. So I am filming a video reacting to your guys's, what is this? I am filming a video reacting to your guys's animal enclosures. I would also like to say that it is 2 o'clock in the morning and my cat is very hyper, so if you hear her running around, it's just my cat, okay? So a while ago, I asked you guys to send me photos of your animals. Hello, Misty. Misty's come to join us and probably knock things over. So a little while ago, I asked you guys to send me submissions of your animals' enclosures on Twitter and Instagram and email, whatever. And I got a lot of them, so unfortunately I can't react to every single one of them, but maybe I'll do like a part 2, a second video where I react to some more cages. What's my water? Anyway, so unfortunately I can't react to all of them, but I am going to try my best to do quite a few of them. Now, before we get too far into this video, I would like to put a little disclaimer. Like, I am no expert. I am just simply someone who loves animals, dedicated my life to animals. I work with animals, but I'm not are you my new cameraman now, moving my tripod around? I'm not an expert is what I'm saying. And everything that I say in this video, like any comments, criticism of any enclosures, is strictly my opinion. So with all of that said, let's go ahead and start looking at the photos that you guys sent me. I'm going to have to scroll through my camera roll for a little while to find them because it's been so long since you guys sent them in and I haven't gotten around to filming this video. So we're gonna keep on scrolling, and I'm gonna keep scrolling some more because I still haven't found them yet, and I'm gonna scroll a little bit more, and I think I scrolled too far, so we're gonna scroll back down a little bit. My cat is like literally balancing on my tripod. Okay, great, I found them. Okay, so the first submission. Another thing I want to point out, I said that I was only doing animals that I personally own and have experience with. I don't want to do any animals that I don't have experience with because I feel like I wouldn't be the most qualified person to comment on that. So the first one that we have here is a hedgehog cage. I do have a few comments on this one. So the first one, I would say it is quite small. And now I do know that the cage size standards for hedgehogs aren't really that big, but I would probably try to go for something at least 2 foot by 4 foot. Now, I know I do keep my hedgehog in a cage smaller than that, but my hedgehog is a bit special. He's completely blind in both of his eyes. He's quite old. He has a few issues, so he does tend to do better in a smaller cage. So if that's the reason for your hedgehog being in a small cage, then I understand, you know, same here. But for most healthy hedgehogs, I would say at least a 4x2. The cage also doesn't have a whole lot in it. I would definitely recommend adding some toys. A lot of hedgehogs really like certain cat toys. Mine has a few favorite toys. So giving him some toys would definitely probably make him a little bit happier. Also, there's no heating device on this enclosure that I can see. Now that might be fine because a hedgehog typically does best when they're kept like in the 70-degree range. So if your house is naturally that warm, you can get away without using a heating device. However, most people will use like a ceramic heat emitter and tend to keep it for around like 76 to 78 degrees, but not everyone needs that. I think the last thing I would comment on is the wheel. So you do have a wooden wheel here, and well, it does work, like it is a wheel that he can run on. The only reason I wouldn't suggest using a wooden wheel for a hedgehog is hedgehogs are so dirty and wooden wheels can be difficult to clean. So you'd probably be better off with like a plastic wheel. It just would be more sanitary. So here we have a leopard gecko cage, and my first impression is this cage does look pretty cool. It does have a really neat background. I absolutely love that background. So like props to you for that background. I also don't know what size this cage is, but it does look like it's a pretty decent size, and there's a lot of rocks and wood and stuff for them to climb on. I do see like a humid hide in the back corner. I see the calcium dish. Looks like there's 2 humid hides there. So a lot of this cage does look really, really cool. I do have a few comments, however. It does look like they're being housed on a sand-like material. Sand isn't my personal favorite for leopard geckos. I think if you want to use a loose substrate, using a more like natural dirt-like material is more ideal. I really like the Arcadia Arid Earth mix. And you did send a picture where I could see 2 leopard geckos together. I really don't recommend cohabbing leopard geckos. I know it can be done and people do have different opinions on this. So if that's a choice that you're okay with, that's your decision. Just in my opinion, I think that they do better alone. But if you are going to cohab leopard geckos, it is good that you have plenty of hiding spaces for them. You have 2 humid hides. It looks like you have a lot of other hides. So for the most part, I think that this cage is a really, really interesting setup. Personally, I would just change the substrate and also separate the geckos. So here we have a crested gecko cage, and honestly, I really, really love this cage. I don't really have any criticism about this one, I guess. There's a lot of plants in here. It looks like you have a nice mix of both live and fake plants, which I think is pretty cool. You do have a lot of sticks and branches for the gecko to climb on. I see the feeding ledge. It looks like the cage is a really big size. Yeah, so you said it was a 24 by 18 by 24, which is a great size for a crested gecko. So honestly, I think that this cage is really, really nice. So the next one here we have is a bearded dragon cage. Now the first thing I want to comment on is I think that the cage size is a great size. I believe you did say it was a 4x2, which in my opinion is a great size for a bearded dragon, so good choice on that. It looks like you have some tile substrate, which I think can be a good option for bearded dragon. I would say like my only criticism of this cage is if it were me, I would put more like things for the dragon to climb on and give him a bit of a bigger basking spot. He does look like he's hanging out on that hide right there, but it doesn't look like it's the most comfortable place for him to bask and chill. I think he would appreciate a little bit of a bigger spot and maybe a few more things to climb on just to get him to be a little more active. But I think this cage size is great. I like the tiles. I like the like cinder block that you put in there. I think that's cool. So yeah, I think maybe just try out a few more like branches or something. I think that'd be really cool. This one, I really wanted to put this in there. I was so excited when I saw this because from what I can tell, this looks like they followed my tutorial for building a bearded dragon enclosure. Now maybe they didn't and maybe I'm taking credit when I shouldn't, but they used those IKEA glass shelves as doors just like I did. This cage just looks exactly like the cage that I built, so I think that was really cool. I really just wanted to include it in here because of that. If you didn't follow my tutorial and you just did this on your own, like good for you, that's a great cage. But if you did follow my tutorial, pretty cool. So there's that. Anyways, I think that is really cool. I really, really enjoy it. Sorry about that, my memory card just filled up, so I had to delete some stuff off of it. Anyways, as I was saying, I think with this bearded dragon cage, you could again add a little bit more things for them to climb on. It doesn't look like he has a great basking spot. There is that branch there, but it's pretty low to the ground and the light bulb is pretty high up. So I think having something on that side that did raise up a little bit that would provide a better basking area, I think that would be a good idea. But I do really like this cage for the most part. It does look pretty cool. So here we have a crested gecko cage. From what I can tell, I don't think it says the size, but it does to me look like a 12 by 12 by 18. Now I could be entirely wrong, so if I am, forgive me. But it does look like this gecko could use a bit of a cage upgrade. I think a bigger size would benefit him. I do like the plants and branches that you have in here. The cage is nice and full. But one thing that does concern me here is how close that gecko is to that lamp. Now I'm not sure if it's a UVB lamp or a heat lamp, but he's very, very close and that could be very risky. If it's a heat lamp and he's getting that close, it could definitely risk burning him. And if it's a UVB lamp and he's getting that close, it can still burn them. Animals can actually get like sunburns from UVB lamps is the best way to describe it. Ideally, they shouldn't be able to get within like 6 inches of their lamp. So I would definitely kind of try to reevaluate that situation so that he isn't able to get super close to the lamp. But I do like the amount of like plants and branches you have in here. I think he probably feels nice and secure there, but I do think a bigger cage and changing up that lamp situation would benefit him. So this one I just had to include. I know that I said that I was only doing animals that I have experience with, but when I got this in my messages, I was like, oh my god, this cage is way too beautiful not to include. So just enjoy this monitor cage. This is so awesome. I don't have any feedback at all for this. I want, other than like, please send it to me, I want it in my house. So over here we have a chameleon cage, and this is for a Meller's chameleon. And now, while I don't own Meller's chameleons myself, I do have chameleon experience, so I do feel okay putting this one in here. So I really like the branches that you have in here. It looks like you have, can't 100% tell, but it looks like you might have the dragon strand cage with some like, yeah, I see like the dragon ledges in there and stuff. Pretty awesome. So I really like the sticks and stuff that you have in there. A lot of horizontal climbing space for the chameleon, which is awesome. And you do have some live plants in there, which is awesome. The cage looks super clean, which is great. My only suggestion would maybe be like a few more plants. I think you can never go wrong with adding more plants. Like, I also apologize about my cat. She's having a fun time though, so I'm not gonna be a party pooper to stop her. So you can deal with her noise, because this is what I listen to all day. So like I was saying, I think you could add a few more plants. Just basically when it comes to chameleons, you can like never have enough plants. So maybe a few more would really help add to the cage, but I really do like what you have going on there. So here we have a veiled chameleon, and now I do have a few comments on this. So it does look like you're using a linear UVB bulb, which is great. So you have the linear UVB and a basking lamp, so that's good as long as you're using like the T5 high output bulb. And it does look like you have a mix of live plants and fake plants in here. People have mixed opinions when it comes to using fake plants with chameleons. In my opinion, it can work as long as you are being safe about it. But live plants definitely are better. I think that this chameleon would benefit from having like a taller live plant in here. I know you do have this like croton plant, I think that's what they're called. But if you were able to replace that with like a taller one, that would be great. Also, from what I can tell, this cage size is the 16 by 16 by 30. I would really recommend getting a bigger cage. For a veiled chameleon, the minimum should be 24 by 24 by 48. So a cage size upgrade would be great, as well as adding like some taller plants in there. And I would also definitely add more vines, because you only have that one vine in there. Now it might look like a lot, but I have that vine also. I know it's basically just one vine with like different branches and stuff coming off of it. I would definitely add some more vines, especially bigger vines, because those really thin ones can be hard for a veiled chameleon to grab onto, just because they're so small in comparison to their feet. Nothing wrong with leaving that one there, like having the smaller one there in there is fine, but you should also have some larger ones as well. So my suggestions for this cage would be a bigger cage, some taller plants, and some more vines or branches. So here we have another Crested Gecko enclosure, and this one here is by Bridget, who also has a YouTube channel, so you should definitely check out her channel. Her channel's very great. So this is her Crested Gecko enclosure, and I really like this enclosure. So she has, it looks like a lot of fake plants in here. There's some wood, a lot of branches. So I like that there's both like vertical and horizontal branches in here. I think that's really great for the Crested Gecko. She has that coconut hide in there, which is cool. I've never used those with my Crested Geckos personally, but I know a lot of people's geckos really love them. Feeding ledges there. She has a nice like humidity and thermometer gauge on top, which I think is awesome. Overall, I don't have like any criticism for this cage really. I think that's a pretty good Crested Gecko setup. So here we have another veiled chameleon cage, and again, I do have some comments for this one. So again, this does look to be a female veiled chameleon. Again, the cage size, this one's a little bit harder to tell, but I do again think it is the 16 by 16 by 30. If it is, I would definitely upgrade it to the 24 by 24 by 48. That will be way better for your chameleon. And now one thing I would say about this cage is there is a lot of branches in it, but if you look at them, they're almost all vertical. Now vertical branches mean almost nothing to a chameleon. They need horizontal branches. A really good way to get horizontal branches is you can use like fishing line or gardening wire to tie the branches to the sides of the enclosure so that you can get them vertical. So I would definitely suggest changing the plants or changing the direction of most of those branches. I would also, I'm a little concerned about the hammock up in the top corner, just because it's so close to the top of the cage. So this is kind of goes with the thing I had to say about the Crested Gecko enclosure, where you don't want them to be able to get too close to the lights. You want them to be like 8 inches below the lights for a chameleon, because chameleons are very prone to burning themselves, both with heat lamps and again UVB lamps can burn them. So I would definitely lower that, because if you see her face is right up close to that heat lamp, which can be concerning. You don't want them to get that close to it. It could also be an indication that it's not warm enough and she's trying to get more heat. It does look like you have a lay bin in the back there, which is great, which is something I meant to point out with the last one, because I think the last one was a female also. I don't remember. If it was a female, you should add a lay bin. I don't remember if it was though. And I think again live plants would be really beneficial in this enclosure. Live plants are really great when it comes to holding humidity and moisture and stuff like that. So if you can, I would definitely add some live plants, change the direction of the sticks. I would also consider a cage upgrade, and then also make sure that the chameleon can't get too close to the lights. So here I think we have another Crested Gecko tank. So this one looks like it's a bioactive tank, which is pretty cool. They have some nice plants in there. It looks like they made a DIY background, which is awesome. They have some cork and stuff. So for the most part, I do really like this enclosure. However, I would suggest adding maybe a few more plants and a few more branches. If you look at kind of the front and the middle section of the cage, it is a little bit empty. So maybe adding like a taller plant and then adding a few more branches would really benefit the gecko. But I do think it looks pretty good for the most part. All right, so there we go. That's all that I'm going to react to in today's video. Like I said, if you guys did enjoy this video, I might consider doing another one in the future, because a lot of people were asking about this. So let me know if you guys would want to see another one. Thank you to everyone who sent in submissions for your cages. I appreciate everyone who is willing to be a part of this video. Again, I apologize that I couldn't get around to every single one of them, but there just was a lot of them. So I didn't want to do every single one in this video. So hopefully I'll get to do some more in the future. All of that said, thank you guys for watching. I really do hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a like, a thumbs up, you know. Also subscribe to my channel. Also, check out all of my social media. All of that will be in the description down below, so please feel free to check that out if you want to. I would appreciate it. All of that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video.